Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, Hideo Kojima's incomplete masterpiece. Metal Gear Solid 5 is definitely a gaming classic in which many critics and many players would definitely consider one of the best stealth gaming experiences you can ever have, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I've returned to this game as I initially got it on the PlayStation 4 platform. I got the Ultimate Edition. It came with our Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, and it also came with the Phantom Pain. Definitely a great experience, and try out Ground Zeroes if you want an initial experience of the Metal Gear story. There isn't much narratively to enjoy there, but the gameplay is cool, and it's interesting to see the build that came before the Ultimate Phantom Pain. Now, getting back to this title now, I played it originally on the PS4, and it was, the Fox engine definitely needs to be commended, because even on that platform, even with those graphical component restrictions, they were able to create a really strong and exhilarating title with good performance in mind. 60 frames per second at 1080p. I'm certain they used some sort of dynamic resolution scaling to maintain that frame rate, but it was very good and very smooth, and it felt amazing. Now, I thought, hey, I finally got the 7900 GRE. I got a brand new 14th gen 14700 KF Intel chip. I said, hey, let me try this game out in 4K and see how my rig performs, and see if it's really worth my time even in 2025. Because I've recently played and completed an entire stealth trilogy, because I played Hitman World of Assassination, which spans from Hitman 1 all up until Hitman 3. A pretty good time, very enjoyable. I did feel in terms of stealth options, it was more limited. It definitely is more focused on disguises and doesn't allow a huge amount of player creativity or freedom. You do seem to have a couple of set paths in which you can take in Hitman World of Assassination, but nevertheless it is still good, and there are definitely a number of ways in which you can defeat your targets using your creativity. But I would still say that Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, due to its expansive and vast toolkit allowed to you thanks to Mother Base and your R&D development team, able to achieve so much, and your creativity can absolutely go wild. And I really appreciate this aspect of Metal Gear, even though they do emulate reality in the way they design the world and the quests and the story and stuff like that. It definitely retains that gaminess. You can tell that these guys had fun creating this, and the funny things, you'll laugh out loud with some of the things that will happen in the game. It's just so funny, it's entertaining. Even the sound effects that are used in the title, it definitely feels like you're having a fun time. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a good time, and if you've never played it before, this is definitely the time to pick it up, especially since Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, the remake, is going to be coming out around August in 2025. This is a good time for you to hop into Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Now, I'm thinking, because it's being made by Konami, of course, Hideo Kojima is not involved, unfortunately. It's probably going to play similarly to Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. I would expect it so. I'd expect it to be on the Fox engine. Hopefully, some of the people that did work with Kojima are on this title and are able to elevate the gameplay and the engine to newer heights, instead of just giving us essentially Metal Gear 3 using the exact same controls and engine of MGS5. Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how the game's gonna pan out. I'll be interested to see. Now, I am worried, as I did see some DLC packs over there for costumes. That doesn't look good. Konami seems to be up to mischief once again, instead of you earning those costumes through playing the actual game. But anyway, back to MGS5. It's a good time. Now, if we're talking gripes that I have with the game, it's definitely related to the narrative of it. In my personal opinion, I don't think, from what I've played so far, that Hideo Kojima is a good writer in terms of creating a narrative plot. I think he's great and has really strong and interesting ideas, but when it comes to a narrative, he's definitely left me disappointed, and he creates things that look cool on screen, but in terms of narrative integrity and it having a really intricate and exciting plot in which you want to follow, I've always felt that his games are lacking in that sort of regard. So that's what I would say. But noted, I've only played Metal Gear Solid 5 and Death Stranding, so I'm using his modern repertoire, his modern collection, to rate his narrative writing abilities. Perhaps his older stuff has more conventional plots, or plots that are simply more exciting and interesting, and perhaps you can put me and set me straight in the comments. Now, for me personally, I understand that Metal Gear is a wacky series, but considering from what I've playing it as, and I'm essentially playing this game as the ultimate stealth experience, when they implement these supernatural elements, whether it's the Skull Knights or Psycho Mantis or whoever, the flaming dude on the horse, for me personally, is kind of just off-putting, because the bulk of the game is set amongst you being a human fighting other human with your very expansive toolkit, and then out of nowhere we have these superhumans in which you have to fight, and that kind of completely breaks the stealth element of the game. That's the only gripe I have with the game. And then the story isn't exactly that captivating. Now that I can let it slide because Hideo Kojima wasn't allowed to complete the game, as that's when they cut off all ties. But yeah, man, in terms of a narrative, this is not a game you're going to be coming for a really interesting or exciting narrative experience. Come to this game for the gameplay. Now, I played Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain at max settings, maxed everything out. After playing around with the configuration files, I was able to unlock the frame rate. I understand that this game was created to be locked at 60 frames per second, so because of that, even though it is an older title now, you would expect to get more frames considering my current rig. I was let down in a couple of instances, so what I did is that I locked the frame rate to about 90 frames per second, 90 or 80 frames per second depending. I put it at that frame rate just so I can ensure myself a good and smooth experience regardless of the circumstances, and once it was locked there, it pretty much didn't drop much at all. So it's a pretty good experience, and playing it at 4K was nice, but the optimized PS4 version was really good, so the jump wasn't as significant as I've had with other games I've returned to on PC. So if you're somebody who's looking for a stealth game experience, maybe you're still waiting for Snake Eater to finally come out, go ahead and get the Phantom Pain, try to get on PC, experience it again. I had forgotten most of the stuff that happens in the story, so I enjoyed it definitely a whole lot. Thank you for joining me for another video, and we've returned to Metal Gear Solid 5, and it's been a good time. I'll check you on the next video. Till next time, I'm Explicit Sage, and I'm out.